So now that season 1 of the Build Up Challenge is finished and we successfully earned enough money to build this beautiful thing right here to give away to one of you guys, I gotta say it, I am incredibly jealous. I want one. I want one of these for myself because after playing on this thing for about a week, it's an unbelievable computer and I want to have one for me. Is that greedy? I feel like that might be greedy. If only I had a talent that I could utilize to earn the funds to build such a computer. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Build Up Challenge is back, but it's not really season 2. It's more like season 1.5, and there are no rules in season 1.5. It is a make money however you possibly can type of season, so sponsorships are fair game. Now, I will give you a little hint as to what type of computer I'd like to build. It's going to be a ProArt system, but I want this ProArt system to be unlike any other computer that you have ever seen before. So you guys already know the deal. We are going to be flipping and building computers just like this. Wait, not this one. This one's already done. Ah, much better. This is what I'm talking about right here. Now we are going to be flipping and building computers just like this thing right here so that we can sell them for profit and then only use the funds earned from selling those computers to build the gaming PC or editing PC of my dreams. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first patient. So this computer actually has quite a bit going on. For starters, it is in probably one of my least favorite cases, the Coolmaster Masterbox Lite 3.1. Now the reason I dislike this case is because it really lacks airflow, and on top of that, you have no cable management space due to the rear panel here being incredibly shallow. And the one thing that I truly hate about this case is that Coolmaster decided that there didn't need to be a cutout up on the top of the case for you to run your CPU power. So you always have your CPU power cable just front and center. You know, why even put a glass display if you're gonna have to run cables directly in front of the glass? I never understood that. Now, I have built in this case one other time and I truly disliked it, but for you guys, I'll do it again. Now, aside from the fact that I don't like the case, this system does have an aftermarket CPU cooler in here, and he strapped a massive Noctua fan onto the back of this thing, but the CPU does not appear to be properly mounted inside of the computer. And so it doesn't really matter what fan you strap onto the back of that cooler, it's not going to cool your CPU properly. Now, I don't know how long the mount for the CPU cooler has been broken. For all I know, I broke it when I went and picked it up. But regardless, it's something that we're gonna have to fix. Now, as far as the specs go for this system, it does have an Intel i7 6700 CPU, a B150 ASUS motherboard, 16 gigs of DDR3 RAM, a Radeon HD 6950 GPU, a 125 gig SATA SSD, and a 1000 watt power supply. That's so overkill. So the plan of attack here is pretty simple. We are going to gut this system, we are going to clean the system, we're going to throw in some upgrades, and we are going to rebuild the entire system, all while doing our very best to try and make this thing look a whole lot better so that somebody will give me all of their money for it. So here we go again. So every single piece of hardware that is going to be going back inside of this case right here has been 100% cleaned from top to bottom and is now completely dust and debris free. Now it is time to go ahead and start reassembling our system, but I did want to go over all of the changes that are going to be taking place for our final build, and it is going to exclude a lot of what came in the original computer. So for starters, I definitely wanted to reuse this CPU cooler because it is a very large CPU tower and it would have done a fantastic job keeping the i7-6700 cool, but unfortunately it is falling apart. There's pieces of the brackets here, there's more that I found inside of the case. It's just broken and I can't reuse this. So we are going to change it up. We are going to be putting just the standard ID cooling tower cooler. I've used this in the past. It is a fantastic CPU cooler, and plus it also has the ARGB element to make this computer have a little bit more flash. The next change in this system is going to be with the RAM here. Now, I originally wanted to use this G.Skill RAM, and I found somebody on eBay who was selling this exact same RAM kit for like 25 bucks, and I bought it because I wanted to use 4 sticks of this G.Skill RAM, so I had 32 gigs inside of this older system. But unfortunately, it's lost in shipping. I don't know where it is. It says it was shipped. It doesn't say it was delivered, and it still says it's in like some random states. So it is not here yet. So I'm gonna have to set this aside, and we will probably save this for a build that we'll do in the future. It's always nice to have some RAM sitting around. So instead of that RAM, we are going to be using this RAM right here. Now, I bought this RAM a long time ago and I've used it on a few different builds on the channel. It's fantastic DDR3 RAM. It is faster than the 1333 megahertz that RAM is, I believe. Yeah, 1866, so 1866 megahertz DDR3 RAM as opposed to that. So it is a 32 gig kit. It will do a fantastic job of making sure this older system has got some pretty fast memory. Now, one bonus to flipping PCs and buying a whole lot of used parts is a lot of times when you buy used parts, people throw in extra goodies for like no money, and you ended up just getting a whole bunch of extra stuff that you may be able to use. And for this build, that's exactly what we're doing. I bought a motherboard off somebody not too long ago, and he gave me these 3 MSI ARGB fans. So we're gonna throw in these ARGB fans into this build here to give this a much better look than what we had in the beginning. So the next thing that we're going to change out is we are going to be replacing the SATA SSD that came with the unit. Now this is only 120 gigs, and that's enough to put your operating system on, and that's pretty much it because it's going to fill up extremely fast. Now there was 2 options that I could have taken with this. I could have just bought like a 1 terabyte or 500 gig spinning drive and added that inside of the system to give the unit some more storage space. But I didn't really want to do that. I kind of just wanted to have one SSD that you could use for your operating system and then put all your games and stuff on it. So instead of the 120 gig SSD, we are going to go with this 1 terabyte SATA SSD by T-Force. It's just going to be a better option, and I think the buyer's probably going to like this a whole lot more. And the very last performance upgrade that we are going to be putting inside of our system here is we will be replacing this graphics card. Now, the Radeon HD 6950, it's just not gonna cut it. It's not powerful enough to play the games that I want this system to be able to play. So we will be changing this out because this i7-6700 in here, that's a pretty decent CPU, and it would do better with a more powerful graphics card. Now, we're not putting anything crazy in it. We're not putting a 3070 or anything like that in here because we're trying to make some money on this system. But just like I said with the fans and people giving you extras and stuff like that, I bought a different motherboard from somebody, and alongside of the motherboard, he gave me an RX 580. Now, an RX 580 is a much more powerful card than the 6950 by like a long shot. So we're gonna be putting this card in here so that we can have 8 gigs of VRAM and we can play some of the games that I want this system to be able to play. So the only other additions that are going inside of this system is I did buy a cable extension kit, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know if this is gonna even fit in here. There's just no space for cable management, but we're gonna give it our best shot. And the other two things is I do have a PWM Fan Hub and a RGB controller. Now, I have gotten a few comments from people saying, how do I get the RGB to work if there is no RGB controller in there? Well, all you gotta do is buy one of these. I buy a bunch of these. This Cool Moon ARGB. It plugs into your SATA power. It's very, very inexpensive. I think this is like $5.99 for one of these. And this, you can daisy chain all of your RGB together and then plug it into one of these, and then you can use the little controller on this to control and change the fan colors to whatever you'd like. So the original price that I paid for this system was $200, and you might be thinking to yourself, Ryan, well, you paid $200 for a computer and you're only using a few pieces from it. And you're right, I am only using a few pieces of the original PC that came with it. And you might think that wasn't really worth $200. Well, also with that $200, I got a 240 millimeter radiator from the guy, so that was a nice little bonus. And if you think about it, I am going to put the old graphics card back on Facebook Marketplace for like 10 or 20 bucks, so we'll get a little bit of money back from that. Plus the RAM that I pulled out of there, like I said, I bought more RAM, so I'm going to use that in another build, so that just, you know, decreases the cost later on for future builds. Plus the 120 gig SSD. I could either list this on Facebook Marketplace for 10 or 15 bucks, or I can just keep it and use it for another build. That's the beauty of flipping PCs. You can swap out parts as you want, so that way you have these sitting around. And the funniest thing is that for all of the upgrades that we're gonna be putting inside of this computer, it only cost me $130. So the total cost of what I spent is only $330, and I'm gonna be getting some money back. Plus, I mean, I think that this computer should be able to sell for like 400 plus. So I am sure that you are tired of hearing me talk and you just want to see this thing put back together. So let me go ahead and do that for you. Let's get building. So this thing looks way better than it used to. I love how it came together, and with the blue accent lights inside of the power supply and the blue fans here, I think that this is a very nice looking system. So today is actually day number 2 of working on this PC. Now, yesterday it started to get a little bit late at night, and I did need to get some rest because I do have a job that I have to wake up at 3:30 in the morning just to get to. So this had to be put off until today. But before I went to bed, I took a bunch of pictures of this and I posted it on Facebook Marketplace for $500. Just wanted to see what kind of attention this computer would get on a Saturday night. And when I woke up this morning to get ready to go to work, I had 13 messages about this computer right here. And I'm selling it like any second now. So the original plan that we had for today was I was gonna come home from work, I was gonna play some games on the system, I was gonna run some benchmarking software, and I was gonna go ahead and do some screen recording so that I could show you the gameplay from this system. But because the person who wants to buy this system wants it like now, I was not able to do that. But I was able to test 2 different games before I went to bed last night. I played Modern Warfare 2 at a high preset at 1080p and I was getting 77 FPS, and I played Blood Hunt at a medium preset, I believe it was, and I was getting 91 FPS on average. So the system is a pretty good gaming system, and it's selling now. And I have to go right now and sell this thing. I'll be right back. All right, well, that worked out really well. Listed it for 500, sold it for 500. So for this season of the Build Up Challenge, we are going to be starting with a total budget of $1,000 rather than the $500 that we started with for season 1. Now, the computer that we just put together and sold, I built that system for a grand total of $320, and we sold it for $500. So it's gonna bring our grand total up to $1,180. And you guys also have to keep in mind that I still have my personal system, and I think that I could probably get maybe $1,400 for my personal system. So once we get closer to the end of this season, I will go ahead and list my personal computer for sale so that we can use those funds for the end build as well. So this season's really not going to take a very long time before we can get to the final build. Now, I have already picked up quite a few parts for builds this season, and we should be in store for some really nice systems. So if you are not subscribed, now is the time to go ahead and do that so you don't miss any of the builds that we are going to be putting together this season. And I know that you really liked that computer that I showed you right in the beginning of this episode. So if you would like a chance to win that PC or any PC that we do give away on this channel, then all you need to do is be an active member in my Discord server. I'm gonna go ahead and drop a link to that in the description below. Now, if you excuse me, I do need to go ahead and start buying some parts for the builds that are coming up. So I am going to leave you with a no matter where you are in the world, I hope that you are having a fantastic day. And I'm gonna see you right here for the next episode.